November 12th. So, as you can see, we're in person. As you can see, I am not Peter. So, there's a new structure going on with the agenda. It looks different if you guys look at it. So we did roll call, people calling in and bystanders. Mary Lou, we will get you that list. So I'm going to.
Tina, can you talk a little bit louder, please?
Please what?
Can you talk a little bit louder?
Yeah. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. And first thing on the agenda is the acceptance of board member Chair Peter Benjamin's resignation. Says Director Larry Henson, due to the personal attacks on me, the
Rantar.
affliction on the fire district and the board of directors, and the strain all has put on my family. I made the difficult decision to resign from the board effective October 27th. I am proud of my 25 years of service to the citizens of the Steel Rock District, and it has been a pleasure to serve with you. I wish you all the best, dear Benjamin. So that is going to put a vacancy on our board. We will talk about that in new business, but do I hear a motion to accept Peter Benjamin's resignation?
So moved. I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Who made the motion?
Mary Lou Dustin made the motion and John seconded it.
Thank you very much. I need names.
You're welcome. No, Larry seconded it. Oh.
Dustin made the motion and Larry seconded it.
That's right.
Thank you, John.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Peter is now officially resigned. At this time, I'm going to ask if there's any recommendations for who should be taking his resignation form down to the county district. Hello?
So there's Lisa Care.
Yes. Talk a little bit louder, Larry.
I think Tina just asked for whether or not someone needs to go to the county clerk's office to file something for Peter's resignation.
Yes, that has to go to the clerk's office, to Dana Jenkins' office, to get it signed that he has resigned.
So are you going to take care of that as executive officer?
Yes, I will take that over to the clerk's office.
Linda Engel.
I did roll call. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see that right now I've been acting as interim chair while Peter is gone. This normally falls on our vice president. That would have been John. John, are you accepting, do you want to take responsibility of the presidency or do you wish to pass it on?
I wish to pass it on.
Okay, so then that leaves me as secretary. Do I hear any objections to me stepping in as the chair board president?
I move that the board accept Tina moving up to board chair from the position of secretary effective immediately. And I second that. This is Dustin.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right, I will be taking over as board president. With that, John, I have to ask, since you did not want to step up and take care of the president's position, with my schedule and work, I'm going to rely on my vice president a lot. Are you still wanting to be a vice president, or would you like to try to pass that on to somebody else?
Well, I would be willing to do it, Tina. I think it would be good for us to sit down and talk about what your expectations were and
Okay.
see if I can meet them or not. I think that would be the best thing.
Okay.
And, yeah.
All right, so me and you will get,
Fantastic.
okay. So then the next thing on our agenda is going to be approval of the previous minute. Do we have any comments from the board on the previous minute?
I do, on page, this is Larry Hinton here, Mary Lou. On page 4, under board comment, there's a paragraph that says, Director Hinton also wants the meeting on October 15th. President Benjamin will schedule a time for the meeting. Director Hinton said he's attended 4 classes. He knows years ago volunteers just had to sign up and go on calls. Now it's required that volunteers have meet certain hours of training, and these next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words, and be a certain age should be deleted because I did not say that. I understand that in doing the minutes how that could happen, but what I said is what is difficult because none of us are getting any younger. With all the years of training I've had based upon discrimination, there's no way on the face of this earth that I would say that we would discriminate against anyone based upon their age. So I would ask to make those changes that that part be deleted and then added in what's difficult because none of us are getting any younger.
Larry, this is Mary Lou.
Yes.
There was so much background noise. I only heard a portion of what you're saying. I would ask you to write down. I don't know who's making the noise, but I can't even hear.
Are you still there?
All right. Yeah, right now I am, but I'm not sure that this is going to happen tonight.
Okay.
What I want you to do, Larry, is to send me an email with specifically what is written in the minutes now and how you want it corrected.
Right. I'm sorry. I apologize that you didn't hear whenever I read that. I know the communications are kind of bad. That's one of the things that we've been fighting during these meetings, is communications. So, yeah, I will do that. However, I think it's critical that we understand that this would be a change to the minutes. On that second bullet point under board comment, that I know where it says now it is required that volunteers have met certain hours of training and be a certain age. I did not say and be a certain age because that's discriminatory. What I actually said is what is difficult because none of us are getting any younger. It was directed at myself, not at the audience. Are you still there?
Are you talking to Mary Lou?
Right, Mary Lou, correct.
Yes, I am, and I'm still asking you to send it to me in email form.
I sure will.
All right. Justin or John, do you have anything with the minutes that need to be corrected?
No,
I don't.
Okay. So after Mary Lou gets the minutes fixed for Larry, do I have a motion to pass the minutes?
I'll make a motion to pass the minutes. This is John speaking.
And I will second that. This is Dustin.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, unanimous vote. Those will be adjusted and printed onto our website. And then is Tom Wilson on?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Tom.
How are you,
Would
Tina?
you
Thank
mind
you.
giving the financials for us tonight?
Would like to. Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes,
Great. Are you ready, Tina?
I am ready.
All right. I'm going to walk through the packet that we sent to the board, the board members. The first one is the balance sheet, and the first item are the checking and savings accounts. We have a total of $450,021 in checking and savings, and I have included a new report that Tina and I and Larry have talked about that details each and every one of the accounts, and that is the last report in your packet. And that should clear up any questions that you have. Of course, I'll always be available to answer. I know that there was questions in the past. And the fixed assets are next. There was no change in the fixed assets of the fire department. Moving on to the liabilities, our accounts payable, which we have checks there at the board meeting to sign tonight, were $5,421, and there is a report also in the packet concerning that, detailing it. And we have credit cards payable, and those are also detailed in a separate report in the packet. So our other liabilities are our federal and Oregon payroll taxes that will be payable on November 15th. So that is also there. And we also have our long-term items for our volunteers and the food revenue and notes for the new building. So does anybody have any questions on the balance sheet? Or would you like me to move on?
I think we're good.
Okay, so the next item we have is the income and expenses. So this is the income that we have received from the county basically here, which we've gotten some income, $1,141 in the current month. That's property taxes that have been paid currently. The next item are the expenses. So we have the firefighters separated from the chief, and then we have our general expenses, and these are all detailed in the transactions. So each account, which is the next report, every account has got all the detail of the transactions that affected that account for the month. Is there any questions on the expenses or any items that you wish to have explanations? All right, I'll move on. Again, the next report is the expense details. And as I said, it's all the expenses that occurred during the month, and it gives you every check and electronic payment that we had made. So, if you'd like to take some time to look through that, or would you like me to move on?
I actually got an answer. No, I think we're good to move on.
We're good? Okay, we'll move. All right. So the next item is the budget report. So this has got a few columns here. Our year starts on July 1st, so we got July through October, so 4 months, which is basically 33% of the year is up. The first column is the expenditures for the first 4 months versus the budget for the year. And then the next column just says whether we're over or under our budget. And we also get a percentage of budget used. And so the way to look at those percentages is it's a third of the way through the year, so we should be seeing about a third of the monies being spent, okay? So you might look at the item where we had only for the grants received, we were expecting a budget of $5,000. We got $7,745. So you see that 155 means that we exceeded what we're expecting in that income. So going down to here, the workers' comp on this page 2, that item we had budgeted $9,000, and that was based on the estimate. With workers' comp, you base it on an estimate of workers' wages to be paid, and then you're audited, and then after the fact, after the policy period is over, and there was a couple $1,000s more, so you'll see that line is higher. And that is because the estimate was lower by a couple $1,000s. Another one, the protective, down at the bottom, the 8411 account, protective clothing, was just a slight amount over, but you'll see that is wholly spent, and it's 106%. The last item, it's a large amount, it's the last item on the report on page 3. We're at 181%, but we budgeted $100. Those expenses were 181, so a small item there. But is there any question on any of the budgeted items?
Nope.
Okay. All right, I'll move on. So, the next report is the bills paid report, and these are the bills that I sent to the board today, and they'll bind, and we'll mail them out tomorrow.
Yes, they're all signed.
Okay, good. So I wanted to make sure that was convenient for you. The next is, of course, the credit card charges, and that came to $1,356 for the credit cards. So, would you like to move on?
Yes.
And then this is the last item is the new report, and as you go down there, it details every one of the checking and every one of the savings accounts. And as you go down through there, you can tie that back to the original report, the balance sheet. And you can tie all the items on the balance sheet. For instance, the first one on the balance sheet is the cash in the general bank account of $21,589. And that is on the first page, and you can see that does tie back to that account. And then all the other accounts will fall in just like that. So this is a new report, hoping that it helps everyone understand their funds. Are there any questions on those?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. All right, well, that is my reports at this point. Unless anyone else has any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Do you want a motion on the approving the report?
Yes. So do I hear a motion to approve the financial report?
I move we approve the financial report.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I will second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. And now we need money to pay.
Oh, yes, there is a report for the monies to transfer. Yeah, sorry. And this month, we're recommending to transfer $41,000. and we need a motion for that.
Okay, do I have a motion to transfer the $41,000 from the LGIP bank account so we can pay our bills?
So moved. This is Dustin.
Was that a motion, Dustin?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a second to pay the bills?
It's Larry, I'll second.
All right. All in favor of paying our bills this month?
Aye.
All right.
All right, we'll pay our bills. All right. So this is where going to be a new section for us. This is going to be our public comment section. I'm just going to read this little disclaimer real quick. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. It cannot be transferred or given to others. If you are disrespectful or use inappropriate language, your allocated time will immediately end, and we will not give you another opportunity to address the board. So our first speaker is going to be Lyle Beard, and it's going to be in regards to volunteers and response times.
Here,
Okay.
my question about response time just came up today. I would like this to be investigated.
Can't hear him.
Can you speak just a little bit louder? They can't hear you on the recording.
Or maybe just come up to the phone.
That works too.
Yeah.
I talked to a lady today that lives on Crane Street, and she had a guest at her house that had a medical emergency, and it took the ambulance 25 minutes to get to her house. And I think that's unacceptable.
The ambulance?
It's ambulance or anybody to get there to assist. Her guest almost died from a diabetic problem because of this.
Okay, well, I'm
So
gonna,
anyway, I'd just like to see somebody look into that and
Okay.
see why it took so long.
okay, we will look into that. I will let you know that we are not,
And I
as a fire district, are not responsible for Pac West.
I know,
So,
but our fire department personnel also didn't get there for 25 minutes.
okay, I will look at the times and we will get back to
the date
you.
on that is 10/16/20 at 3:08 a.m.
And where was the address on that, Sheena?
Well, maybe there was another call. The previous call I get on my phone was at 3:30 approximately the day before, was the last previous call to that.
Okay,
Okay, my other comment
Is there a way
as a
of
longtime
they
volunteer,
don't hear anything from this
I have real concern for the lack of volunteers now. And whatever has caused that to happen, I think the board should look into it and try to resolve that. Because I think in order for our fire department to be viable, to have personnel on scene, we need at least 10 good qualified firefighter volunteers. And at this time, as far as I know, there isn't any qualified volunteers, or maybe one or two.
okay,
So that's my comment.
thank you very much. All right, next one is Larry Silverthorne, but I have no address. Larry, you didn't fill your stuff out.
Well, he's not here, he's on the
Oh.
phone, so.
Larry, your turn.
Larry Silverthorne. I'll try to make this brief because I'm only given 3 minutes. First item, I spoke with Peter and the chief after the last board meeting. I wanted to make sure, since I do not have copies of your minutes, to make sure that it's in the minutes that Director Fritz cut me off after Peter Benjamin gave me a moment to make a comment regarding the water rescue equipment to surplus to Waldport. Second item, August minutes shows Silverthorne questions, but no board answers. Why? If I ask questions, the board should be putting on the website the answers to the questions Silverthorne answered. Item 3, September 17th minutes, September 10th minutes. Approve, not showing your board minutes on your website show none of my questions and no board answers. Item 4, board aware, or if you're aware, I've told John Salthouse that just for your information, Kirby that lived behind the fire hall, and his wife both passed away. I think that it's important information for the fire district to know. Fifth item. After the last October meeting, the next morning, I saw the chief and Peter talk to them directly at Friday a.m. in the morning. I asked them for a sit-down meeting to address some of these issues over the past 3 months. They did not say yes or no. A week went by on Friday. I did not receive any response from either person. I made a phone call at 1:30 in the afternoon a week later to the chief's office. Nobody answered. I got no response. On Monday, the following, 10 days later, I caught the chief coming back to the fire hall, so I approached and asked him about this meeting. He told me personally that they have been instructed, I'm assuming him and Peter, that your legal counsel, I want to make this clear, your fire legal counsel has instructed them not to talk or meet with me. You don't have any idea how upset I am about this. I asked the chief to confirm this. He called me back and said that he would have legal counsel call me to confirm that this was actually happening. Item number 6.
Larry, you got 30 seconds.
I will be meeting with the paper in December to address some of these issues and items. I have asked you guys once, I've asked the chief and Tom, I've asked the board to address these things and to sit down to participate. So I'm asking the second time, and the paper is going to meet with me, and I'd like the paper to be there so both sides can be heard and the taxpayers can be informed other than these board meetings. Number 7, any board member wants to contact me, 270-3172, and I'm making a formal request to be on any hiring board in the future for Seal Rock Fire personnel of any sort. Thank you.
Okay, Larry, I will talk to the chief and ask him, and I'll talk to Adam and ask him about the meeting with you. I'm sorry that you did not get a response. And so I will get back to you on that. I'll have to get your phone number again. You said it so fast. I do not know about, what is it?
270-3172, and I appreciate your answer.
Okay. And I do not know who Kirby or his wife is, but I am sad to hear about their passing.
Kirby Smith lived in the house directly to the east of the Red Station and the administration building. I'm sure the chief knew about this, but as a past board member, I think this is very important into the planning of the future for the fire district as to future planning.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next speaker will be Mike Burt. I'm just going with the way they're. Do you want to go in first? Okay. Paul Ramola.
Okay. Peter Benjamin made 2 statements in recent meetings that the board lawyer gave him an option on 2 different subjects. It appears that the board went along with this and therefore seems to agree with the statements by Peter Benjamin. First off, the reopening budget meeting board vote was a 2-2 tie. We were told that the vote did not fail, but reverted back to the previous meeting where it already passed. This has brought up a number of questions detailed in the request for information. I did a FOIA request, and it's been over a month. The questions of conflict of interest for the board member and Central Coast Fire, and the board member was not in conflict with any future votes or dealings with Central Coast Fire. If this was a written opinion, we have a right to see it. If it was a verbal opinion, you have an obligation to prove exactly what the lawyer said and not just interpretation of the board member or members. Mr. Smith here brought that up at the meeting, by the way. The request was made October 13th, and yet has to be acknowledged. Since this was a FOIA request, the board is in violation of the Open Documents Act. It is my opinion that the board has...
Mr. Ramola, can you speak louder, please?
It It is my opinion that the board has been less than transparent for some time now. For your information, we launched a website that examines district issues, board actions, or inactions in an effort to bring all facts as well as issues to the taxpayers of the district so they can fairly judge if their taxes are spent wisely. In addition, it is a great forum for the taxpayers to judge whether or not the board is acting in the best interest of taxpayers and residents. Thank you.
Thank you. So in your regards, yeah, we will get you the information you're asking, that I am not a conflict of interest with Seal Rock and Central Coast Ties.
So Adam's on the phone.
Adam, are you on the phone?
I am.
Could you please let Paul Romola understand how I am not a conflict of interest?
You know, we can discuss that, certainly. And, you know, there was basically the information that was requested, Mr. Romola, is falls within the attorney-client privilege. And so that's the issue we have with your request. But to the extent I'm asked to give an opinion, outside of direct dealings with Central Coast Fire District, there's no conflict of interest for an employee of Central Coast Fire District to be on the board of the Seal Rock Fire District.
Okay. All right, next, Mike Bird. Sorry, Mike.
I'm sure you've probably heard that there's a petition floating around. The petition is also posted on the website that Paul Romola just mentioned. To date, this petition has over 100 signatures from local resident taxpayers. The petition is to pursue an accountability and responsibility by the board on how they monitor and spend taxpayer money. On that petition, there's some items that we have listed that are factual and provable. We hope that this petition brings the community to a higher level of awareness of the Seal Rock Fire District and how the money is being spent. Some of the items on the petition include management of budget and financial report transparency, unequal subsidizing other fire districts with taxpayer funds and district equipment, thereby depleting our resources, not maintaining staffing levels paid for by district taxpayers, complete disregard for and not utilizing district volunteers, no strategic future plans for fire district long-term stability, depleting district resources paid for by the taxpayers to benefit neighboring fire districts and leaving our district unprotected. District Board not abiding by the Oregon open meeting statutes, need for replacement vehicles and equipment not prioritized. Like I said, we have over 100 signatures to date, and we are continuing to pursue more signatures. The goal is to get the community aware of how their taxes are being spent, and hopefully, with a good open dialogue, we can make it beneficial to all parties. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. All right, Mickey. Okay.
He's come over by the phone here, so
Mary Lou can hear you.
I'll do it.
Hi, Mary Lou.
Hi, Mickey.
Hear me?
Yes.
I brought this subject up before, but it was one of those meetings where you could make comments, but you got no answers from the board. So I'm bringing it up again as, not as a volunteer here, but as a citizen and a taxpayer and somebody really involved in the fire department and have been ever. I was surrounded by neighbors that were firemen. My son, who's now deceased, was a fireman. The acting chief of Los Angeles County was one of my neighbors. And so I've been involved with firemen forever and policemen also. But my comment was, and he said there's a petition circulating. I have not seen that petition, but I'm sure that I could get one from neighbors and friends regarding this crazy rule that the chief has to stay in the district, but he can't use the car if he leaves this area. I've talked to a lot of people that live in Mackay and some other people that I volunteered with at the Aquarium previously. We believe that the chief should be assigned to that car. He should use it 24/7 unless he is leaving the county on personal business or vacation or whatever. If he's in Newport and he gets a call down here that's very important, that's his personal car, he has to come down here, trade cars to get his equipment. That does not make sense to the taxpayers that I know, and I'm sure I could fill several petitions with that. The fire chief should have that car, and he doesn't necessarily agree with me. He is a friend of mine, and you all know that. But we are very different in a lot of ideas. As far as I'm concerned, that he should be in that car whenever he's working, unless he's out of town on personal business. And it's not just me. I know a ton of people who feel the same way, that he should not be constantly, that even the neighbors say, why is he going up and down the street with one car, then the next thing you know, I see him 10 minutes later with the other car. It just doesn't make sense. And, you know, I know there's a lot of risks and a lot of people have gripes and whatever, but I'm talking about the health and safety of the community. And I think you should address this thing rather than just saying nothing about it.
Okay.
But I know it's maybe not a big issue to you, but it's an issue to the people who need to know where he is and that he can get to us just as fast as the volunteers and the paid firemen can get to us.
As far as I know, Mickey, he is always in his car, or to be in his car if he is in the district. The only time he does not have his car is if he's going on vacation.
Well, that's my understanding, but he keeps changing cars because I think he thinks that, in fact, I think...
I'm not sure why he's doing that, but if he's in the district and he responds all times of night, day.
I know he does.
So I don't think that any of us have ever told him he could not be in his car unless he...
Isn't that part of a letter you put? I didn't see the letter, but you wrote something at the last meeting that we heard that went on and on and on, and
that's
we
not
never
about
got copies of it. What was that about?
It's not about his car. We'll be addressing that tonight. That's something that we are addressing, but it's not about his car. He can have his car.
Well, I think he should have it all the time, unless
he can't
on personal business.
Right, he can't take it on vacation to San Francisco.
Well, of course, I'm sure he wouldn't. He likes his personal car.
Yes.
And I just think he should respond all the time in the car we pay for.
And I believe he does. So I'm sorry for understanding about that. So I have no more papers for public comment. So I'm going to end this portion of public comments at this time. If I told you I would get back to you, I will get back to you, and I will be looking into those certain matters. The next portion of this, and I would like to thank everybody for keeping that very civil, is public letters. I added this into it. I did not see any letters come in. Obviously, last month would be the month we would be addressing this month. So anything that is brought this month in, we will try to address next month. With that being said, if you call it, or if you write a letter and it's a repetitive letter that we keep seeing over and over and over, we will only address it once, and that will be the answer that you have, so that we're not consistently going in circles with the same comments at every single meeting. So then the next section is going to be our executive director update. This is going to be the chief. You're up, chief.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, Hire.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to start off with my monthly chief's report and end with the number of calls that we had this month. Again, a lot of it is repetitive because they have the meetings each month. I attended the Fire Defense Board meeting via phone conference. I'm continuing to go to the weekly IGA meetings with Chief Mason and Chief Woodson. I met with the water department regarding water distribution, Adam Dillinger and myself, and we had a meeting regarding the water distribution, and right now the crews have completed flowing all the district hydrants, and they will now conduct flow testings of the hydrants for our upcoming testing. I met this last month with, actually it was last month with Board Member Fritz and Board Member Henson regarding firefighter, and a letter was written to Central Coast Fire Protection District on the feasibility of a joint firefighter. Now, we haven't really gotten into the meat and potatoes of that, but we are in discussions with that. This project and this the firefighter per the board members needed to be hired by around the 1st of January 2021. So that's our goal, to hire another firefighter, whether it be a joint position or Seal Rock Fire Department hiring a firefighter. October 20th, 3 of our pieces of equipment were pump tested. And as of right now, all of our equipment has been pump tested, and the tests have all passed on every piece of equipment. So we've been certified with all of our pump testing. The Bayshore Station addition has been completed. We have to get some incidentals in there before everything is ready to be occupied, but we've added the 2 rooms. We're getting some dining chairs and some other things that the firefighters need so they can move in. And that should be here within the next couple of weeks. They'll be moving into that station. Monday's trainings are ongoing with Central Coast and Seal Rock Fire District with the volunteers, and the County Fire Academy, speaking to Chief Mason, is going very well. All the station generators have been maintenanced and serviced as part of their maintenance schedule, and all of them are up and running and in good working condition. The next item is that we received a letter from LifeFlight regarding a patient that we had, that it was a CPR, and the guys brought him back. Good life-saving measures on that. The person was transported to Corvallis, and when she got to Corvallis was in stable condition, and I want to give kudos to every individual that was on that call. It was a 55-year-old individual, and the guys did a tremendous job of resuscitation on the female. Calls for service this month was a total of 52, 2 surf rescues, 4 brush fires, 4 public assistance calls, 1 fire alarm, 1 building fire, 2 motor vehicle accidents, and 38 medical aid calls. And if there's any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. So, we're going to go on to old business at this time. And this section is going to be anything that we have previously, obviously, went over in the meeting. We are going to be looking for resolve. We are not going to be looking to talk about. So we're going to try to have ended dates, solid dates for you all. With that being said, under old business is the budget. I know this is a concern. The budget did not pass. We are going to be redoing our budget meeting. Chief, when has that budget meeting been set so that we can have it on next month's agenda to pass it? And Are people
I
invited?
sent out
No.
are you there?
Yep.
I sent out a email to all the budget individuals, and I received back from Board Member Henson, Mary Lou, Mickey, and James Provance. I still need a few of the other board members to call in and let me know, as well as Mel. So so if you could give me those schedules, and I want to have it before the Thanksgiving holiday.
All right. So we are addressing the budget. That is something that will be addressed. And when we have this meeting, there will be public comment. And
Speak up a
we are
little bit.
going to do it
You're cutting out. Speak up a little bit louder, Tina.
Nice fashion. So, that brings to us the fourth firefighter position. In our budget, or in our levy, we have a position. We have 3 positions plus the chief's position. We do have those filled. We did ask for a levy that I guess was not passed, which was before my time. So the fourth firefighter was not passed at that time. So we are as staffed per the levy. We are not efficiently staffed for our district growth. We are going to need to ask for another levy to get this position. But at this time, we feel that the safety of our firefighters is first and foremost. And so we are going through our budget to be able to staff a 4th firefighter. And so that it will help with the demand on the district. So those are being addressed, and there will be somebody hired by the first of the year. The next business is the CAC for applications for Larry. How's that going?
Okay, can we move back to that budget thing again?
Go for it.
There's been some questions concerning different things of the budget, and our accountant, Ms. Wilson, is looking into these issues that some of you've asked about. I apologize that it's taken so long. I think you bear the same frustration that some of the others bear. In the 2017-18 budget, under the full-time equivalent of employees, the budget listed 4.2 employees full-time, which would have been the chief, and 3-point-something part-time. Then in 2018-2019, the budget went up to where the FTE full-time equivalent employees was 5.0, which would have been 4 firefighters and the chief. Then in 2019-20, it went to 5.7. And that was where we were hoping that we could get the levy done. It didn't. So it was dropped back down to 2020-21 to 4.5, which is where currently we are. And I know there's frustration among some of the people about monies and the budget and how money is being spent. And if we had more volunteers, then we could spend less money on full-time employees. But I've been involved with volunteers, and I can tell you, people just are not wanting. And I think the past board, I know some of them may be on the phone now, but they had even tried to come up with a method in which volunteers would be paid. And to me, if you're a paid volunteer, you're not a volunteer. But that's just an opinion, and so much for that. Concerning the Citizens Advisory Committee, there's been 4 people that have been interested. Some of you may not know that Assistant Chief Mason lives in the Seal Rock, and he has displayed interest in becoming a member of the Citizens Advisory Committee, as has Keith Barnes. He's displayed interest in becoming a member. I think Dave Oliver has said maybe. Linda Engel, who's on the phone, I think still, she has filled out an application and has turned it in, as has Al Anton. He's filled out an application and turned it in. And as soon as we get 3 people that want to step up, I have, no problem with any of these four, or five wanting, if they want to, join the committee. But until we have at least three, we can't necessarily set a date, for when to discuss items. I've also heard from two other people in the community that said that they thank the district for the opportunity to apply, but that they were pursuing other interests at the time. And so that's where to go to. So that's where we're at on the Citizens Advisory Committee. I hope that we could get it up and running through the holidays. However, it's not looking like we will, especially if COVID continues. And I understand now that the application is on the Seal Rock Rural Fire District website. So if anybody has interest in joining that, other than the ones that have received the applications or turned their applications in, please do so. Thank you.
Anybody? All right. So then the next item is Facebook. I feel that we do not reach out to a majority of our community. I think we have a very small number that we reach out to. How is the getting Facebook back?
Eric Knudsen has spoke with former Chief Shaw and is going to be having a one-on-one with Chief Shaw so we could get that site back and get
I keep hearing this, and that's frustrating to me. So how about we make a new Facebook that has not Seal Rock Fire District on it, but maybe a different name so we can try to get that out? Any suggestions on how we can reach these these people that we are not getting, that don't come to our meetings, that don't look at the board in the post office, that would have interest in this? How are we going to reach these people? I think this is very important. And I would like to hear suggestions on how you think we can reach more of the community. Facebook is just a little platform. Well, it's a big platform, but it's a little platform for some of these people because a lot of them don't look or get on Facebook or know how to do this. So I'm looking for suggestions because this falls into how are we going to get volunteers? I want to reach out to the community and I want to get our volunteers up and running. I want there to be a very nice and great standing with the volunteers. With that being said, it does take a lot of hours. It does take a lot of time. You have to be up on your training. We do have a training officer to keep up on hours. We can't respond in our POB like we used to do because we don't have the proper equipment. We value our firefighters and their lives, and we need them to be properly equipped, and we want them to go home safe to their families. So how do we reach these people and be able to keep up their hours and make everybody happy? I really think we need to talk about that and discuss that. That is not something that any of us take lightly. And I know that it's been, everybody says we don't want volunteers. That's not true. We want volunteers. Yes.
Make a comment?
Yes, you may.
In the last 4 years, we've lost 7 good volunteers.
You're correct, and there's some of that has to do with the training hours that were required, and some of that has to do with some other personal issues that they feel they were unjust in some things.
We had inadequate training.
And that's been rectified, right?
And we had a training officer, and the training officer's schedule was ignored by the chief and overridden many times. And the rules were, the officers didn't have a chance to discuss with the chief or anybody the new rules. They were just imposed on us. And some of those rules became so strict that it was nearly impossible to respond to a call. And that's why I quit.
Okay. Well, be patient with us. We are trying to rectify and get the volunteers up and running and doing it the correct way. Please do not hold the past against us. Let us move forward, is what I ask. Chief Mason, yes.
Just 2 new recruits are still rocking the academy ground.
So, and I have met both of them, and they both seem very eager and ready. So I have a vision in my head to be able to have the volunteers up and running, and I hope to do it. I started out as a volunteer. I volunteered for many years before I became a paid firefighter, and so volunteers are near and dear to my heart. They really are. So, any suggestions or comments at this time on how anybody might think something could help? Okay. So just keep that in mind. If you guys, I do have an email. We'll get that out to you if you guys have questions or comments to help us do that. On to new business. We have a position for Peter Benjamin's remaining term that we are going to be taking applications for. At this time, I'm going to refer to Larry so he can explain the process because he's a words person and I'm not.
Okay, wow.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't
I think
throw you
I
under the
might
bus.
do that packet to you.
You did. I threw you under the proverbial bus.
Somebody had a comment on the phone?
Larry, can you speak up a little bit louder, please?
I'll try. Speaking through these masks is difficult for all of us. Keeps fogging up my glasses. The SCAO website gives us a lot of direction on how to fill this position, and that's not it. I had a packet ready and all the packets that I had. I'll basically give a rundown on how this will happen. We'll have an application form that SCAO has provided that will be placed on the website, and then also if I'll try to get that to Tom. And I asked Tom, did you get that application modified that SCAO has, or are you working on it?
No, I'm working on that. I need direction from the board regarding, because there's several different ways that we can elect a candidate and go through that. So I have the template for it, and I'll get together with you either the end of this week, Larry, or the beginning of next week so we can fill out the template and then stick it on our website.
Right, and I had those templates all prepared and gave them.
You have them?
Yeah, and they disappeared. Anyway, for the application, it's basically very simple. There's 4 points to it that are questions, but once we set a timeline, and that's what the board is probably going to need to do, is to set a time whenever the applications will be formally given, and then those applications will be available for turn-in for anywhere from 15 to 30 days, which the board would need to make a recommendation or some type of action on setting that amount of time for the applications to be processed. Once the applications are received, then each applicant will be contacted by a member of the board or by the chief as the board so directs, and an interview date will be set up. During the interview date, all the applicants will be publicly interviewed before the board. And the board will then look at the application, they will ask questions of the applicants, they will determine what all it is that they want to ask, what they desire to know about the individual, and then after the interview process, there will be a vote taken with all the applicants here, and the vote will be taken amongst the board of directors, and it will be a private vote. And it will be on the same type of a card, and each board director will write down the name of the person that they want to see fill the vacant position. Or it could be, if the other directors want to, they could have a 1, 2, 3 choice, just depending on how many people are filling out the application. Then, after everybody fills out their card, it will go to the secretary. The secretary will then read out the list of the names that were submitted. So say that John Doe gets one, Jane Doe gets one, someone else gets one, and someone else gets another. That means that there are 4 board members that have voted for a different person. And those 4 people will be the 4 finalists. And so the other people will then be dismissed. They can stay at the meeting, they can provide whatsoever whenever asked. At that time, the 4 people, if it's 4, will then come up and be interviewed again by the board. After that time, another vote will be taken. If the vote is 3-1, then that person will be, if the board is deadlocked at 1, 1, and 1, and 1, then the people will be called back up for another interview. And this could go on all night until whoever it is that's being interviewed hits that spark that the other board member wants to hear in the person. And then whenever the person that's the one of the finalists gets the majority vote, that person will take a seat on the district board and begin to fill in the term that's left of the Director Benjamin. Does anybody have a question? Yeah.
You guys go through all this?
I had nothing to do with whenever Al Anton resigned and how that he was the chairperson. You'd have to ask him. I thought it was, I must admit, since you're directing your question at the person that Al Anton asked to fill his position, I did think that it was rather strange that he recommended and that the board just chose me based upon 2 to 3 months after the fact. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with you being.
Yeah, I understand that.
And I just, in hearing all this, and I was at the meeting, everybody went back and came back out. We're on board, which is fine. But now we're going through all this, which
Well, actually, it wasn't quite that simple to where everybody went out and came back in. As I remember, Al at the meeting had said that, and he shocked us all because he said that he was resigning and that he wanted to recommend to the board that they select me to fill the spot. And so somebody made a motion and they did. And then it was almost 3 months later, then I came on the board. Yeah, because that was in like, my first actual meeting on the board was either September or October.
yeah, I remember that. Like I said, I'm not criticizing.
No.
But just curious, and it kind of goes back to what I said before, you know, transparency. I agree 100%. I mean, I wasn't aware of what all the policy of the district was. However, I think that this policy or this type of action would be very open and transparent and fair for all of the. No, this just popped into my head.
Right.
Now, the other question, quick question I have is policies, board. Have book or something.
Right.
Of your procedures. What do you call that?
SOGs.
SOGs?
Well, just for the board.
bylaws?
Bylaws. So.
Well, actually, it's the ethics code that's in, and that was something that I tried to get across to all the board members. Special Districts of Oregon, SDAO, they have great websites, and they also have an academy for new board members and several different trainings, and they have the ethics for board members. And also, if you desire, I can send you so you want to be a board member. And I think that's one of the things that's in this packet for people. It explains the operations of districts, what all will be expected of you, and to be honest, a lot of people they'll say, "Oh, you're crazy, Larry." It doesn't take 30 hours of your time a week to be on the board or to be a board chairman. Yes, it does. And if you don't believe me, Tina's finding that out. Because
That's what I'm asking is the rules of order, not Robert's rules of order, your rules of order.
Well, we follow
Is it here or is it at the SDAO? You follow that?
the guidelines of SDAO.
So there is nothing here.
Not to my knowledge. John Soltow, could you answer that? You've been on the board longer than anybody.
And what was the question, Larry?
Is there a set policy for the board meeting and procedures and actions?
We try to use the Robert's Rules of Order. Now, how faithful we've been,
This handbook is
So
here.
that's what you go by.
Yes, and it is here. Sorry, I could have answered that pretty quickly.
Thanks, John. I firmly believe in having clear and open and transparent government, and I welcome every question and everything about that. I have a friend that's sitting in the audience here, and he woke me up the other day, and he said, "Larry," he said, "what all I'm getting concerned about is why in the world is everybody taking this personal?" Because it's not a personal thing. Each and every one of us, our goal is to make the Seal Rock district the best district that we can. And believe me, with the severely limited funds that we have. We've been hamstrung with the funds. And from my understanding, just as little as 5 years ago, this district was operating on $250,000 a year. And I don't even know how they do it. I know people that they make 3 times that in a year.
What is SDAO?
Special Districts of Oregon. Special Districts Association of Oregon. They have a really great website.
Well, one of the ways we did that, I think, in the past was with volunteers. And volunteers got almost nothing in return, other than maybe a award at the end of the year in a banquet.
Tom,
We went
Tom,
from
are you there?
staff members that was treating volunteers unfairly to the point that all the volunteers quit. And now you're having to hire people, and one paid guy costs more than 20 volunteers.
And I understand that, and we're going to be getting to communications in a minute. And for me, I'll have to say that I've had several conversations with Al Anton of late, and I had to remind him when he brought that up that the past board was searching for ways in which they could pay volunteers, because the volunteers were getting to the point where you're being overworked. And so then you get into a whole different thing. If we're going to pay volunteers $15, $20 an hour, if we're going to take out the different withholdings that have to be done. And for me, and talking to some of the volunteers at that time, then it would be, I'm not a volunteer, it's a job. And do I want to do that? Do I want to be, and so there's a lot of issues. There really are a lot of issues, Lyle, and you're well aware of it. And I hate to see you and Paul and Mike and others
I don't think any of the volunteers quit because they weren't being paid.
No, I don't either.
We quit because we were being treated with no respect.
And that's a problem with all districts. I know at Central Coast, I had a friend there that, he and his wife, that they felt the same way, and so it's
Tina,
during the
Yes?
time.
is there a chance that we can get back on the agenda? There are people looking, I have
On the
no idea who
agenda.
they are, and I cannot understand them.
Can I make it?
We're actually on the replacement of Peter Benjamin under new business.
Can I make it? I took it upon myself to call history.
If people are gonna talk, they need to speak louder because it's cutting in and out, or get next to the phone up to where the, speakers are at.
Thank you very much.
Spoke to Mr. Ewing, and he's all.
Can't hear him.
And may have to come on the phone here.
I spoke to a Mr.
Okay,
Ewing.
this is Mary
and,
Lou.
uh,
I'm leaving the meeting.
He addressed everything that
Yeah.
you're talking about tonight, he addressed. And he's got 20 volunteers, I think. Started off with 2 up in Detroit, of course now with the fires up there, you know, not much of a fire department up there. He was Toledo Fire, and then he was here for a while. And, I would suggest that you might want to call him up. And we talked about this. Everything that's been said here tonight, he talked about. Did he solve it? Not 100%, but he's 90% there. So I would make a quick phone call to him. I don't have his phone number. I tell you who has it is Al Anton.
Okay,
So,
appreciate that. All right, so the next item is going to be our new business. And that was what we were talking about with the position of Peter. So we will be having the applications that you can either pick up. We do have them. We just have to find the folder that ran off. Those will be up. For John and Dustin, do either of you have any ideas of how long you would like to run this application for? I think 15 days, but if you guys thinking longer, then maybe longer might be. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
I think 15 days is definitely sufficient. It might be actually longer than what we need to do. I think the people in the community that are engaged in this fire district are most likely on the phone right now. But yeah, 15 days sounds okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Tina. I think it's plenty of time, 15 days.
Okay. Larry, are you good with 15 days?
That's fine with me. Fantastic.
Okay, so that puts us out. Today is the 12th, 15 days.
I would add a day.
15 days actually puts us out onto a Saturday. So we're going to make it 17 days, applications to be in by the 30th, so that we can pick a time, probably maybe the 1st or 2nd, our days I have off, or we could run into next week to do the interviews. If we do that, then if we can get them interviewed by the 1st or the 2nd, then I think we can have a new board member brought in on our next board meeting, which is on the 10th. How does that all sound to everybody?
Well, I just have a
Go with
question.
me, Larry.
I think Mary Lou's quit. How does that sound, Dustin and John?
I think that's perfect. Thank you, Tina.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds
So-
real good.
We will have those applications available, and we would like them in, and we will start looking at them and do the interview either on the 1st or the 2nd. We will definitely let the public know that which day we pick. But it will be one of those 2 days. For new business, that's all I have. So we are going to go to board comment. Let's start with John. Do you have anything? Oh, sorry, John. Hold on. What do you have? All right. This is gonna be Joe talking.
Hi, can you hear me, Chief? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. Hello, my name is Joseph Bartling, and I'm a representative of Newport Local 4619. We're a union for the firefighters. We had a vote on the 13th, and we are accepting the Still Rock firefighters into our union. We are now going to be representing them. I wanted to officially let the board know that we will be doing labor contracts with you guys.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, I think we'll be looking forward to working with y'all.
Absolutely. And I will be the point of contact for South County.
Okay, so.
Awesome. Thank you.
And, hey, could you say your last name for Mary Lou?
Mary Lou, are you still on the phone?
He left.
Mary Lou is not.
Yeah, Mary Lou hung up. This is all recorded though for her. It's gonna be Joe Bartling, Mary Lou. All right. So, back to board comments. John, do you have anything for us?
I'd just like to compliment you, Tina, on the way you conducted the meeting. You've done a good job. Other than that, I don't have any other comments.
All right, thank you. Dustin?
Yeah, I will echo John. Compliments to you, Tina. Well done. I also appreciate Peter Benjamin's decades of service to this district. Let's see here. Chief Sekeres, can you get me the response data for the October 16th call on Spring Street that Mr. Beard spoke about earlier?
Chief Mason has the answer to that, so we'll let him respond real quick on that.
Okay, perfect. And then I appreciate Mr. Silverthorne's comments. I think he has my phone number now. Are you still on the line, Larry?
I am.
Did you get my phone number?
No.
Perfect. We will chat. And then finally, Larry Henderson, thank you for your work with the Citizens Advisory Committee, getting that up and running. I think that's really going to do a lot to address the communication challenges that we're experiencing and have been experiencing over the last 2 years. So thank you very much. And that's all I have.
Okay, Chief Mason?
Yeah, so when the concern was brought up, we immediately pulled up the records from WVCC, which is the dispatch agency that records all of our traffic, communications and vehicle traffic. And the call that was referenced was dispatched. And I'm not doing the second, so we're going to get a little bit differentiate there. But it was dispatched at 3:08 in the morning. The engine was en route with the crew at 3:11 and was on scene at 3:19. It was a 7-minute response, give or take the second.
Okay, and I can actually find out the ambulance. That's not, I can call WVCC or even just pull up the report because I do work for PacWest. So, and here's another thing to remember with that too, is when you're in the emergency, it feels like a long time. It does for us responders too. It really does feel like a long time for us too sometimes. So, all right, so that leaves Larry.
I've talked enough.
All right. So then I'm going to end this with saying thank you. I am very, very new at this. I'm green. I am going to be referring to my other board members from time to time because I like to jabber. And some of these, I'm not as wordy as some of these guys. Since I am new, I may have to refer to them, so you may see me kind of consolidate with them. It is not to try to hide or do anything, I just don't want to speak for everybody or out of turn. I do want to say that I am here and I want us to be transparent. I want to be an open communication. I want there to be a dialogue with our community. I want to try to bridge the gap between our volunteers and our paid, because our volunteers our paid staff love our volunteers, and we like to work with them. So we need to figure out how we can make it all work. And we have a training officer. We are trying to take the steps. So please do not hold the past into the present. Be open and give me a chance to try to help you guys to make this a better area for us to be able to do this in. And I am going to call the the next date and time of our next meeting is December 10th. It will be here. With the caveat is if we do get more people than this, because we maxed out today, we can maybe move it over to the green building so we can have a bigger area if we need to be. But I'm going to call the meeting.
Quick. So the next regular scheduled meeting, but are we going to try to have a meeting around the 15th?
Yes.
17th?
Yes, the board will get together and have a meeting, not on the 7th.
On that Monday, was it, the 15th, 16th, 18th?
For next week?
No, for,
No. So the board will get together on the 1st to have the interview, the 1st or the 2nd. Do Dustin and John, does the 1st work for you guys? To have interviews for Peter's position?
What day is it?
It will be a Tuesday.
Yeah. After 4.
Okay, after 4, how about you, Dustin?
Right now, that works for me.
Okay, you, Larry? Okay, so our next meeting for the board, that we will be meeting with the applicant to fill up Peter's position is going to be on the 1st, Tuesday, December 1st. And we will do it at 4:30. So we will need to have all applications in by the 30th. And then, hopefully by December 10th, we can swear in somebody for Peter's position. So at this time, I think I will call the meeting, and it is 19:55. Guys, have a good evening.
You too, Pete.